If there's one thing we've learned about business and life, it's that people are the X factor. They constantly surprise us, both in amazing ways and not so much. We're Ben and Syya, and welcome to the Gnaw on This Business Bites podcast. This show is all about real-life things we all deal with every day, how they relate to business, and how to make some sense out of our daily chaos. Welcome to the show. And welcome back to another episode of Gnaw on This Business Bites. I'm Ben, and this is Syya. So here's a question for you. How many people out there today in this wonderful world of AI actually care about their clients? Or are you just unleashing another bot on them? You know what? Everybody says they care about their clients. How many people actually do? How many people are just sitting there going, how do I dial this in? How do I make this easier for me? How do I reduce my costs? How do I reduce the amount of time that I actually have to sit there manhandling a customer? How many times do I have to sit there and have these touch points with the clients instead of them just buying, just off my website? Why are these people bothering me? Can't they just spend the money and leave me alone? It's how I feel at times. And I don't care if it's legal, it's insurance, it's accounting, it's this or that, and everything. More and more businesses out there make me feel like I don't really matter, that they just want me to shut up, pay my bill, and go away, and come back and pay my bill again and go away. And that's what I mean. Are we just unleashing a bot on these people and just, don't really care about the customer service or customer experience? Syya, let's gnaw on this.
Oh, I'm gonna have some fun. I feel like having some fun with you today. So
Okay.
let me just give it this way. I think for businesses to grow and scale, there's going to have to be some semblance of process that's established. Okay. And, the biggest conundrum in business is how do we maximize our engagement with our clients, our existing clients, and our prospects in a way that they do feel loved, right? But we have to scale. It can't just be Syya, or it can't just be, Ben, gnaw on this by themselves all day long, right? Like at some point, maybe there's a team that has to respond back, write that newsletter or whatever. I'm just saying at some point, there is a bit of automation that as a business grows and gets bigger, it just can't be the founder doing everything by themselves. So I understand the need and interest and the value proposition that, quote, automation presents to a company. One of which is, hey, if we know, and they've done their studies and they've done their data analytics, and they say, hey, the first call into our 800 line is usually about bills, right? 90%. 10% is going to be about 10%'s outage.
Whatever
the percentage is, people. There's a lot of math in my head right now. Okay. And another 5%, I'm kidding. Anyway, what I'm saying is this is I could see where in the beginning, the salesman for automated operators, okay, would say, hey, you don't need as many operators. You've got this. Let them do the initial screening to route to the respective teams. And then you can have lesser operators from then on, right? That is a form of a bot, right? Because it's taking the phone calls, asking, what do you need? Push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, right? I think as that is technology that happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, or whatever, 30 years ago. Now we're seeing deeper use cases where these bots are doing much more intricate interactions with humans, right? In the customer service space. It could be argued that, wait, our AI-based bots know more faster to get to the right resources than maybe if we hire people in a call center, which we know for a fact has high turnover rate, and you have to constant train these humans who may or may not know what the heck they're doing, may or may not speak English for that matter, if you're onshore, offshore, whatever, right? So there are things where I'm going to challenge you a little bit to say, I think it could be argued in specific use cases where automating, getting a bot type AI system actually might streamline the customer service flow for a business. So that's my take.
I'll push back from there, because my attitude is I have no problem with technology. Technology is a phenomenal thing. If technology helps humans be more humane and enables systems and flows that they and for me to be routed faster to somebody in some way that can solve a problem, I'm okay with it. The problem is most automation doesn't think. Well, first of all, yeah, it does, but most of it, people do not think about systems and processes when they're creating automation. People are not thinking about the end user clients and how the end user client engages with the technology, how the end user wants to be treated and wants to be routed through the system. And it sits there and frustrated. I mean, how many websites do you go to right now where there is no web page? There's no email on the web page. There is no phone number on the web page. You have to sit there and do reverse Google search to find customer service or tech support. If you might be lucky enough to get through to a chatbot, and then you realize that you're not actually dealing with a human being who can go beyond a series of things. You get to a chatbot that 3 questions in, the chatbot says, I've reached the level of my complexity. Please fill out this email form and somebody will get back to you, and nobody ever does. To me, it's the fact that we don't create the handoffs between where the technology ends in terms of its capability and its usefulness to a human being that is trained and knowledgeable and valuable to another human being. We need to sit there and take a look at that and sit there and say, yes, use technology where it is. I'm a big believer of how-to videos. You've got 30 questions that customer experience answers all day, every day. Have customer service and customer experience people create how-to videos using a Loom type situation on the thing where people can sit there and say, oh, okay, great. And I can go through the video myself at 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't figure out how to move my cursor from X to Y. That's a good use of technology.
Yeah.
That's a good news. That way you don't have to have a third shift who can barely speak English doing tech support where a video can do it quite easily. But it's a matter of sitting there going, is the technology being programmed and being developed in a way that is useful for human beings, or is it something that just makes it more cost effective for the business itself? And the question comes down to, you create all this automation, what's the bleed through on the backside of these businesses? You say you're always looking at it, says, oh, we need to grow, we need to scale. But how much are you losing on the back end that's causing you to scale, because you're bleeding 30% or 40% on the back end because people are not renewing for your product because they're frustrated because there is no customer service, there's no training videos, there's no nothing there to help them be successful with the product.
Oh, I'm right there with you, my friend. Like, I hear you on that, because ultimately, as you move into process mode and you move away from the human element, then it becomes more transactional.
Yes.
Because humans inherently need interaction. That's just in our DNA, peoples. So, yes, while there is that argument, as I'd made earlier, it could be, again, just to save costs, optimize, ensure consistent messaging. I mean, we could argue all that back and forth. I think, though, ultimately is you have to think about the human element and the experience, right?
Yes.
Until we get AI in a situation where it's way more interactive, way more human-like in their conversational style, language learning model to make it. Look, we know we're talking to a bot, peoples, but I don't want to feel like I'm talking to a bot, right? And that's the thing, because gosh, you'd be surprised how many people like are verbally abusive towards bots, knowing that they're bots. But that's a different. I digress. Okay, wait. Reel it back
discharged.
in. Reeling it back in. Back in. Yeah. So I think my biggest problem is in the use case for AI is, we went to that customer service route, but my big thing, again, maybe because I'm selfish, is the marketing side of it, right? Like, to me, it's like, my philosophy is this: if you need to push out corporate messaging, a bot suffices, you guys. As far as like, if you need to put that mundane,
I'll push back against that all day, every day.
I know. What I'm trying to say though is if it's just like one liner, fine, just push it out. That's and it's already pre-canned. So when I say AI, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like it's a canned message and it's done. There's no change in it, right? What I'm really pushing back on though is people that are like, oh, well, I can have AI engage now. Like, they'll reply back to you on your social media profiles. I'm going to have AI DM people and proactively reach out on your behalf. I'm going to respond to the DMs on your behalf. Those interactions, those are the ones where I think it's very precious, that should not be AI solely. I get it. There are days we can't speak English or whatever native tongue language that we're communicating in. And the AI prompts might be helpful for you to be like, oh, well, have you considered answering it this way? Especially the mad, bad emails, right? Like, where you're like, oh, I'm about to drop a what on this, you mofo, right? Those are the times where AI is really good. Slow down, calm down. But automating like everything, outreach, engagement, responses, like at that point, then on top of that, you have your own bots responding back. Mm-hmm. At this point, who's talking to whom? So yeah, I'm catching what you're pitching, my friend.
Well, it comes back to our differentiation conversation. It comes back to our conversation on differentiation. And it says that if you outsource everything to a machine, to a bot, to an AI algorithm, none of those things think. Mm-mm. They are only there to react. They're there to amalgamate what's already out there in the digital universe and be able to come up with some response that is generic, banal,
average.
And
it's an average. That's
an average.
And
therefore, you become a commodity that is easily replaced and soon forgotten. Mm-hmm. People, I think, moving forward, we're going to get to a point where people are going to sit there and there's going to be a rise against the machine. And people are going to sit there and say, no, I'm sick and tired of this. I am willing to pay to have a real human being. And I'm willing to pay to have somebody that can actually come in and solve a problem for me, because I'm so sick and tired of dealing with a machine that can only give me 70% of an answer.
Or a completely wrong answer.
Or a completely wrong answer. I mean, the world of hallucinations is real. I went through it yesterday with a client, and we were reading through what ChatGPT did, and it was wrong. It was completely wrong. And we had to say, are you sure? Based on this and this characteristic, are these parameters that you come up with, are they verifiable? And they said, no, actually you're right. It says no, and then they came up with some other, thing that was just as equally wrong.
Again, we were very early on. I think people have this misassumption that it's like advanced and should be perfect. It's only as good as the data you're feeding it, first off, and the data it's compiling around it. So
now it'll be much better. 5 years from now it'll be.
Oh, it'll be totally different.
Better.
Well, it'll be so mind blowing how different it's going to be. So that's why I'm already saying it, man. Hey, I always say hi and thank you to all my prompts. Every single AI prompt, I always say hi and thank you, because you never freaking know. Just saying.
That's right. So make sure that they'll forgive you when the robots rise against us.
They'll be like, okay, we'll put her on the okay group.
We'll put her on the okay list. So let's leave it there. But I think we need to sit there and go, are we providing real customer experience? Are we providing real customer service? Are we differentiating ourselves in the marketplace? Are we becoming somebody that people know, like, trust, and want to do business with? Or are we just treating our customers like with a customer number? And all they are is a Visa card to us and another user on our SaaS platform. And I think we need to sit there and say, what do we really want? And, what is it costing us in terms of of being able to charge real value by, autonomous, by making the process so automated.
I don't know, man. It's coming no matter what we talk about right now. I think I just literally had a moment right there where I'm just like, there's nothing we can do to stop any of this. We're talking about it, but there's nothing we can do to stop about it. Like, I just got sad.
We can as leaders decide how we want to engage with machines.
I get it. I'm just saying, literally this, like 2 seconds ago, my brain just went, this train is a rolling. Like, it's a rolling. And I just got sad there for a second.
Syya?
I just got sad.
It's going back to the conversation we had, and we got to land this plane. It's how we react.
I get it.
It's how we decide we want to treat our clients.
It's true. 100.
I'm Ben.
I'm Syya.
And we'll see you soon.
Hey. Thanks for listening to another episode of Not On This, Business Bites. If you liked what you heard, we most humbly ask that you like, share, and hit that subscribe button. If you want to communicate more effectively within your organization, contact Ben at IamBenBaker.com or me at BrilliantBeMedia.com. We can help you build your community, brand awareness, and personality through digital content and podcasting. We cannot wait to hear from you. See you next week for another episode of Not On This, Business Bites.